we're talking about the Batman. Up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun and we're back again after that technical difficulty that we just had.
All the technical difficulties. It
Literally.
wouldn't be Geek Out SA without all the technical difficulties.
Gotta have all of them at once.
Every single one of them. I was taking a nice nap and then you woke me up. That's the second nap I've had today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She napped while we were fixing it. While
Yeah.
Vince is fixing it, she was asleep.
I was trying to nap and then they kept saying move because apparently it was my camera that was a problem and they're like,
You were the only camera that had any issue.
so then I did the Macarena. Y'all missed all the good stuff because my camera wasn't working. Sorry. I'm not going to repeat it now. So.
But now we're back.
To talk about,
Talk
dun,
about
dun, dun, the Batman. The Batman. I'm Batman.
So
Where's Martha?
you're tired. I'm okay.
I'm like super tired. I don't know if anybody can see it anymore because it's been like 20 minutes. But when we first started the show, I had like this whole like crinkly, you know that crinkly line like from your pillow when you've been laying there? Because I went to go lay down when I got home and totally fell asleep. Snored so loud I woke myself up.
That's funny.
Hey, we have Black and Silver Drying. He says, I just came back from watching the Batman.
Oh, nice.
Awesome,
So
awesome.
no spoilers, okay? Like
Yeah,
not
we're
in the
not gonna
chat
do
or
any
anything. Don't do
spoilers.
that. But yeah, so Vince surprised me because usually because I'm older and I don't like to stay up late and I have to work the next day, and then because I don't really like humans too much. He's usually kind to me and he lets me go to like the Saturday morning show or the Sunday morning show of a new movie.
No, we haven't been doing that because we didn't do that with Spider-Man.
So you used to be kind to me and now lately you've had this problem and I keep trying to
I
hint
have to
to
see
him.
it.
I'm like trying to girl hint, right? Like, I mean, are you sure you checked all the theaters? There must be a 7 o'clock, because he picks these 9 o'clock showings, because that's all that's available by the time he decides that we're going. And there's 3-hour movies, so Spider-Man and Batman both, and I'm just like, the next day I'm like, I'm so sleepy. I'm so tired.
He said, no, not really. I'm pulling your leg.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. But this may change your mind. Or
I mean, I don't really feel like anybody's mind needed changing. I feel like this Batman's got a lot of solid good hype for once. It's been a long time since any of the DC movies have gotten any kind of decent hype. And aside from a few of us, me included, who complain and kind of grumbled about Robert Pattinson being Batman at first.
We talked about this on our a previous I think it was back in March 17th of 2019.
Have we been waiting that long? Well,
Batman. Yes.
it doesn't seem like that's long, but COVID pushed everything back because people weren't able to film and everything. So, I was surprised though because Ben Affleck got so much pushback, and I know that, oh God, sorry, that's the dog running into my camera because he's trying to play with me. I know that Ben Affleck got a lot of grief for wanting to be Batman, and I think some of it was his age, some of it was because people were like mad at him because of the Jennifer Garner thing and because of the Jennifer Lopez thing, and now he's back with Jennifer Lopez. I don't know, it was the whole thing with Ben Affleck and people were like not having it.
I have to say it's because of Daredevil, because that's the only reason for me.
Really? But I didn't dislike Daredevil.
Oh, I hated his portrayal of Daredevil.
Really? Why?
The whole movie was just garbage to me.
Really?
The only version I liked was the director's cut.
Mm.
And because there was so many plot holes, there's so many storylines.
But that's not the actor's fault.
He also was not a good actor in that film. I can't. No.
I liked it.
He was basic in that film. He's grown as an actor since then, I think. So I think one of the benefits that an actor like Ben Affleck has is that he really loves comics, right? He's that guy. He's that nerd who really loves comics. So I thought well, at least he's going to bring that to the film, because I think that's often what these comic book films are missing, is it's just an actor put in a role who doesn't know. Like, I always say I haven't read the comics. I just mean, like, I haven't read, like, the whole series or anything, but I've read storylines of a lot of different comics. I just haven't followed them, like, all the way through everything. And I feel like some of these actors who do these things don't even know anything. Like, they haven't read anything about these. So that's usually my complaint. And I felt like Ben
Diamond says, I actually think Robert Pattinson has potential. He does have potential. I didn't think he did.
I didn't think so, but he does.
I didn't think he did. Because I was thinking, well, how are we going to do this with a young Batman? Which, in doing this, it's a younger Batman. The Batman is a younger Batman. It's not an old Batman. He's like been into it, doing it.
Right,
for
we
like
find
2
out that
years.
he's only been into it for a couple of the years when we get into this film that we go into. So he definitely is new, and probably a little too young for how old Robert Pattinson is. But that seems fairly believable. That wasn't one of the problems that I had with the movie. I was okay with it being kind of, this is still kind of fresh in Batman's career of being Batman. I will say that one of the things I liked about Robert Pattinson, just like superficially before we get into anything in depth, is just seeing him in the outfit and the way like his jawline was and everything. He very much epitomized some of that comic book Batman that I've seen from some of the art, from some of the storylines that I've read. They got the proportions right with his mask and everything, with the cowl, and so it was better.
Yes. So when you get into this, what you're looking at, it's a very different Batman movie than we've ever seen before.
It's very kind of noir, right?
Yeah, it's a very detective-driven movie.
What's the one? Oh my god, I just blanked out. It's another comic book movie. It's all black and white, and then there's like
Sin City.
Thank you, Sin City. I'm watching it and I'm getting a very Sin City vibe throughout the whole thing, right? That very kind of noir, gritty, dark,
Gothic. It
Gothic.
was supposed to be made that way.
Well, it's Batman, right? And if people don't realize by now that Batman is dark, I think you've missed the point, right?
I think it was how, if Tim Burton actually read any of the Batman comics, his movies would have been closer to this.
But see, I think Tim Burton likes to do more of a campy horror. That's why he picks like Johnny Depp a lot and stuff. He likes to do like a weird like I don't know, like mental twist on horror, where this was very much more of a true like you said, detective story.
Because he's not using computers much on this.
No, I mean we're super early in his career.
He has gadgets, but not a lot.
No, and he's fabricating them himself. So we're not seeing a lot of that. We're seeing him do true detective work. Like he's there, he's walking around, he's looking at clues. He's using his observation skills. So I liked that whole aspect of it. It
like they're like going in and like looking at codes by eyesight.
Yeah.
They're not breaking it down.
He has a couple of things that are cool to see, and I don't want to ruin too much of it because you don't know about one of the things until you kind of see him with it. Anyways, I don't want to ruin it. There are
gadgets in there, but not, like I say, not a lot.
Not a lot. One of the things that I liked about this that I complained about with Uncharted, which I thought they did a good job of this, is they show us the clues. They give us a while to think about the clues. They kind of lead us to another piece of the clue, give us a little more time right? So we're getting to spend all this time, and we're getting to be part of the detective side of it as well. Did you feel that?
You're part of the process.
Yeah. So I really thought that was...
Derpy Gaming says the Batman was great. It was great.
Yeah. I really loved that they didn't just hand feed everything to us, and that even that there are moments where he gets it wrong. Right? Or where they collectively get it wrong, because he's working with the GCPD. And so that was good to see, some of those moments where you've figured it out and they haven't, right? And so I like those moments too, where you're like, I know what's gonna happen. You just find this clue. I know that clue's got to be there. There's got to be the clue. And so those were good parts. I really enjoyed that about that. What did you think of that aspect, Aaron?
I mean, it was a good film. I liked it. It was one of the better ones. But like you said, the gadgets were still fresh. He's still a young Batman, and I honestly didn't know. I'm just going to kind of backtrack a little bit. I didn't know how I was going to feel about Robert Pattinson until I saw Tenet. I don't know if y'all watched Tenet.
I slept through Tenet. I thought it was so boring, yeah.
But that was the movie that made me say, okay, maybe he could do this. Cause he
had a little grit in that, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you showing off a little bit, so now I'm curious.
But in Tenet, he seemed much older
than he did
in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's only 35. He's my age.
Yeah.
So it's like, he has a lot of years left, so he could keep doing Batman. And the way this movie goes, of course, there's room for more.
But in this one, he doesn't look 35.
No, they do a good job of making him look younger.
He looks like his late 20s, maybe.
I will give it that. Like, he looks young, and that's what you need. You need a young Batman so you can carry a franchise for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can carry a franchise with this Batman, though, because
I think so.
I don't see this Batman.
They're gonna have to make some changes.
Justice League. It's not. I don't believe it's part of the.
Well, this
DC
is like Earth
cinematic
2.
universe.
This is like Earth 2, they're saying, basically. But we also have Flash coming out, and that's supposed to kind of merge everybody together. So maybe Ben Affleck will die, and I don't have to worry about Batfleck, and then he'll kind of take over.
I think if they're going to have him be part of the Justice League, there's going to have to come a maturity, right? That's going to happen, obviously, because remember, he's fresh in Batman. But they're going to have to do some serious thinking about his Bruce Wayne side. Because that, for me, is really where this fell short.
In the movie is his Bruce Wayne.
They opened up a lot of opportunities where he could have been a good Bruce Wayne, and then he was Batman.
You're right.
And the problem for me is...
Before you get to that, we have a few comments.
Oh, okay.
Derpy Gaming says it's electric. It's better than No Way Home. Electric Dreams. I've given up on superhero flicks after the tepid Black Widow and the Holocaust superhero movies, The Eternals.
Oh, and don't forget.
Eternals.
Electric Dreams above that. Or did you say that one?
Which one?
Seeing this on Tuesday against my will.
Oh no,
it will be
it's
surprisingly great as Spider-Man was. Yeah, that's funny.
Spider-Man was great. I didn't think Black Widow was too terrible, but we can go back to that.
But this is a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
in this movie, you don't have feel-good moments.
No, and there's no comedy.
No.
It's not like some of the Marvel like you've gotten before, like with Ragnarok and stuff like that. There's no comedy, none whatsoever. It's dark all the way.
Old school Batman comic stuff.
When I read the comics, and I've had discussions with other nerds like myself, my understanding of the Batman universe is you're never supposed to be quite sure whether Bruce Wayne is the mask or whether Batman is the mask, right?
Exactly.
So you're supposed to have this very different, hence why one of his villains is Two-Face, right? You have this different personality, right? This Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing, and you're not sure which one's the real one. So when they play a good Batman, I find that they fall short as Bruce Wayne, or when they play a good Bruce Wayne, they fall short as Batman. And I think some of that was in the writing this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of that was in the writing because they were writing some story arcs, and they had the perfect chance for him to not yet be a good Bruce Wayne, but for us to see that he was going to develop that persona, right? Mm-hmm. And so I kept waiting. I was like on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, he's gonna develop the persona. He's gonna be the Bruce Wayne, right? And he never did. He was just Batman the whole time, even when he was Bruce Wayne.
He was an emo Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
But that's
I
kind of
know
who
what it
Batman.
was.
That's kind of
Yeah.
who Batman is.
Right.
That kind of angst and gritty, and wearing his heart on his sleeve. That's who Batman is.
Yeah, but I think you have to see Bruce Wayne has to play the playboy, and we didn't see him play the playboy.
And he has to take the money role and the philanthropist role, and he has to want to change the city. That because no matter what, both halves of him want to make his city better. Right? They want to make it so that other kids don't have to go through what he went through. And we get a glimpse of that in the movie. They give us a scene with a child who loses a parent, and he's there and he's feeling for that child. And so we get that moment where we almost get to the finish line, where we get to see, hey, no matter which personality he is, he wants to make the city better so no other kids have to go through what he went through, right?
Right.
But then he never develops into Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman the whole movie. He's just flat in that regard. For me, anyway.
Because in the movie, we don't have Alfred pushing him to be that.
He does.
The other movies.
He does.
But
he just has such a small role in this.
It's a small role.
Small, yeah.
Where it wasn't enough time to push him to do it. When in other movies, you had that.
Mm-hmm. But he does enough that we should have seen some glimmers. They had moments where they could have given us glimmers, and they didn't write it in there properly, or didn't direct it improperly, or whatever. In my opinion, that's what I thought.
Or maybe there's a director's cut.
Yeah.
That
3.5
does it
hours
right.
long.
Okay, here's another thing. Don't drink anything when you're in this movie.
No, because you won't want to leave.
Yeah.
Like, you will not leave. Like, I left during Uncharted because I was like, whatever, I know everything that's going to happen. In this one, you can't leave.
No.
You cannot leave. And so that comes back to something you were telling me yesterday. Vince was like, are they going to start giving us intermissions again? Because used to be when a movie was 3 hours long, when you had, like, the Gone with the Winds and stuff like that, Sound of Music and things like that, there was an intermission. You would get an intermission just like when there was a play. And you would go, and you could go to the bathroom, and you could go get some new fresh snacks or whatever, and come back to your seat.
This movie needs
an
intermission.
I don't want 3 hour long movies. Please don't. Please don't do that. So there was a part for at least twice that I kind of zoned out in this one for me, because it was too long.
Oh, that's your age showing.
Oh, my age.
You're on the cusp of that social media generation where y'all can't sit still more than
it just
an
dragged.
hour.
The ending dragged.
No,
and there was 2 parts in the middle
I
that
have to
dragged.
agree. The ending did drag, but I think it was also I had to pee really bad.
See,
was why it dragged on for me.
The ending dragged because they were trying to drop us some breadcrumbs to the possible next one, right? So, or to a spinoff for Selena Kyle, or
maybe. So 2 things real quick. You say I'm the generation that can't, focus long enough. Y'all are at that age where you have to go pee too often now.
Yeah.
Got it.
True,
okay.
true story.
So the age group's in this room right now.
But
you're right. They're trying to leave the breadcrumbs. But so me and Robert did a review on this, and that's going to go up on my channel later. But Robert made a good point. He followed the Riddler's story and plot of what he was doing for so long, and he understood it. Except the end doesn't make sense for the rest of what he is doing. And I agreed with him, and that's why I was losing interest around that same time too.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because I don't want to spoil it, but
I don't want to say
does
too
kind of
much.
take a turn, and it's I didn't see why would he have done that? That makes no sense.
Well, and one of the reasons that it somewhat takes a turn, I think, too, is because they are trying to take an older story and modernize it some, which I got to admit this, and I admitted this to one of my teacher friends today when we were talking about it. So we're old enough that we were watching movies in the time where the last Batman fiasco in a movie theater happened, and there was a shooting in the theater, and there was some problems, and there was some angst around going to Batman movies for a while. This movie brings in a modern social media type twist that I have some angst about already as an educator, because of like being fed that social media of only people that believe what you believe, and like starting this problem. And so they did a good job with that. I don't want to say too much to spoil it, but they do a good job with showing kind of that modern angst. And that gave me angst like in the theater. I was on edge, like looking around. It was like kind of freaking me out. That part really stressed me out.
So Black and Silver Diamond says, I miss the hardcore edginess and darkness from the 2000s. This movie looks like it can deliver. It can.
It can, and it does. It does.
Do you want to comment? Colin Farrell did not look like Colin Farrell.
Not even remotely. I had no clue. I had no clue.
I saw an interview with Colin Farrell, and he was talking about when he got all the prosthetics on, he went to go order coffee at Starbucks, and nobody knew who he was.
I bet you he was happy. I bet.
Not a single person.
He does not look like him. Like, I never, ever would. If you hadn't told me, Aaron, I never, ever in a million years would have known.
It was like, what's his name in Tropic Thunder?
Oh, Robert Downey Jr.?
No.
No.
I'm trying to remember who else was in that one.
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Being
right.
so fat and everything.
That's right.
And
yeah,
bald,
bald.
and
That was him.
This was even bigger because I couldn't see a hint of his face in there.
Yeah, have y'all had the Little Caesars Batman pizza?
Was that good? Does anyone know?
I don't know.
It's like Little Caesar pizza folded over.
It's like you get less pizza though, because
it's shaped like a bat.
Yeah. But yeah, like
fun and interesting.
Robert said he saw it a couple times on his jawline, I guess, where he would tilt his head and he could see Colin a little bit.
I could not. I kept trying. Like,
I did too. I was like, I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Really good job on that.
He did a really good job.
I was happy with that penguin. I think that's my
that
favorite
penguin was super good. Super good.
But then again, that's a different penguin than we've ever seen, ever.
Yeah, well, Gotham. He is more of a mobster like that in Gotham, isn't he?
Yeah,
yes.
He's not like that.
Yeah.
No, he's more snivelly in Gotham.
Is he?
Yeah.
I haven't watched Gotham enough.
He tends to be a snivelly character in general. So this one, he's snivelly in a way, right? Because he's subservient, but he will occasionally grow a backbone. And you're seeing where he's going to definitely get the keys to a part of the kingdom. They give us that breadcrumb as well, so we can kind of see him evolve into that.
Apparently, in this movie, there's 3 different comic storylines that are happening at the same time, and they do a really good job of intertwining those really well.
Yeah, they meld them together well.
I won't spoil it for y'all to tell you which ones they are, but go ahead and check. When you check it out, you're like, oh.
Now, what did you think of John Tuturo as Falcone?
I didn't hate him as Falcone.
I think he can do no wrong.
He's
like just one of those actors that I'm like he can do anything. He can be anything. Like, he's not usually a bad guy. He's usually kind of a goofy guy, right?
Transformers.
Yeah. He's usually pretty goofy, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of love that about him is you kind of don't take him seriously. He's kind of like the Walmart version of Jeff Goldblum or something. Like, so.
But this one.
That's what I know what y'all.
I took him seriously.
I very much felt like maybe he was watching Daredevil and watching Kingpin and got like some of that it felt like somebody was watching Daredevil and got some of that Kingpin and was like, oh, now this is how you do a villain. And so they coached him or had him watch it or something, because I felt like he had some of that where he carried himself that way where, and he's whispering this in one person's ear and whispering this in another person's ear, and he's got everybody on his little strings, and just real slick about it too. I am who I am, and you're gonna succumb to me, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I thought he played it really, really well.
I thought so too. I mean, we talked about it, and I told Robert I liked him because it wasn't like he walked in the room and he was this like omnious presence, like, oh, you listen to me kind of thing. It was just like, hey, and like you said, it's just like, I'm gonna plant these little seeds here. And like Robert said, he is the snake oil salesman in this movie.
Yes,
that's the best way to put him.
Yes.
And I'm like, he really is, and he was good. I was actually surprised because I saw him and I was like, that can't be him. And then Robert was like, yeah, it was him.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is him. Okay.
Yeah, he was super great. I thought all of the supporting cast was really great. The actor who is Jim Gordon,
Jeffrey Wright.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the one that's in with Anthony Hopkins, the show.
Oh, in Westworld.
Westworld.
Yes, and I love him in
yes.
Westworld. I love him in Westworld. So,
he did a good job.
and it's good because I don't want to spoil too much, but he has a moment. He and Robert Pattinson have a moment where it's Batman and him, and they're doing this little thing, and it's the closest thing you get to comedy, I guess, in the movie. They have this kind of like buddy cop thing going, where he's like, we're gonna do this, okay, we're gonna do this, you know. And it's very much more serious than I'm making it out, because I don't want to give away too much of it, but just the dynamic between them and the trust that you see between them, because that's very integral always in the Batman story, right? Is you've got to have Jim Gordon and Batman, and they believe in each other, and they trust each other, and they have each other's backs, because you really have to have somebody in this city full of snakes that has your back, right?
And talking about having everything in this movie, I mean, but comedy, like the tension between Catwoman and Batman. Just like
that was good.
You could cut it with a knife.
To me, though, the most tension: Riddler and Batman finally meeting. That whole Arkham scene.
That was so good.
I think
because you think something's gonna happen, and then they make you think that they think that it's gonna happen, and then it doesn't happen, and then this other thing happens, and you're like, oh dang, no, yes, hurrah. Yeah, that was good.
That was my favorite one.
That was really good.
I think, but you're right. Those with Catwoman and him and that one, there was a lot.
But the little actor who plays the Riddler, he's a really good little actor too, and he
Paul Dano.
Yeah, Paul Dano, and he plays a good psychopath. He's been a good psychopath in some other things. So yeah, so I'm like, oh, he's a believable psychopath. Yeah, I believe that.
I believe he might be.
I believe he could be. No, no, but he's
and another completely different Riddler than we've seen.
Oh, very, yeah. And
agreed.
And the Riddler, again, that I'm a little more used to is like a little more unhinged. He's pretty unhinged in this, but he's like coherently unhinged, I guess, if that makes any sense. I don't know how else to say it without giving away too much. Like Riddler's always a very good planner and stuff like that, but then he will unravel, and he gets kind of like, and you see that in Gotham again in the show. I think we saw in that show more of that comic arc than we have in a lot of other Batman type stuff. But in this one, he's very disturbed. Like he very much belongs in Arkham.
But you don't think he has it as much together as he actually does.
Right. He's very smart. He's very crafty. He's thought.
But
he thinks he's thought about everything.
You don't think he is.
Yeah. You think he's smart and crafty, but like, he's kind of a psychopath too, and he's like, he's gonna slip up, and then he kind of doesn't, and he kind of doesn't, and he kind of doesn't, and you're like, ooh.
Very dark. Extremely dark. Even darker than Gotham's Riddler.
Yeah. And then the audacity of him at the end when they catch him, just the sheer audacity of him is just kind of lovely.
I agree on that one.
I just don't want to. I don't want to give it away, but it's just like it's a moment, and you're like, "Excuse you."
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was perfectly played too.
I don't know. There's some stuff I want to say.
I think Jim Carrey should be the next Joker.
Ooh, never.
No,
Ooh, never.
get him away from that.
Never.
No.
Keep Jim Carrey away from the Batman.
Look, we've
movies.
only had
I
two.
think we're done with.
Live.
I'm done with
Done
Joker.
Done with the Joker. Done.
We've seen.
Can we see some other
I mean,
bad
we
guys?
can't have better than what we've had.
I mean, Jared Leto, you can have a lot better than that.
I thought Heath Ledger was it. You know, it's a shame that he died.
Heath Ledger and Jack Nicholson both did amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could do better than that.
See, and my thing is, and I think we said this offline, is that I'm tired of these movies with Joker. Because like you said, we've seen it. Batman with Tim Burton, Cesar Romero in the 1960s.
Yep.
Then we got Heath Ledger. Then we got Suicide Squad. Then we got the Joker movie. I'm tired of Joker when Batman has such a huge
I would
rogues
say if you're
gallery.
going to add a Joker into this noir type Batman, though, Joaquin Phoenix is the one to do it.
I don't like him still.
Oh, you didn't like his
I didn't
Joker?
like Joker. I thought it was a Joker, not the Joker, because it was such a weird tie how they were trying to do everything.
Yeah.
I couldn't deal with it.
But I think he could pull it off.
He could pull it off probably, but
Yeah. But I
wanna
agree
see
with you.
Hush.
Like, we're done. Can we see some other, can we get some depth? I mean, we're starting to see all this depth in, like, Marvel and stuff. They're starting to bring us, like, lesser known characters.
Right.
And so let's have DC do that, right?
yeah, like who'd be a great follow-up? Calendar Man. I know he's an odd one, but he could be a great follow-up to something like this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
have always wanted to see Man-Bat.
Man-Bat would be a cool one.
I think that would be a good one to come out.
Mine would be Clayface, honestly, because we've never seen Clayface in films, and you can do a lot.
And
with that
nowadays
character.
we have the technology that we could do a lot with prosthetics and CGI and everything. So,
and especially if he's an enemy. I mean, imagine Batman having to walk around and he sees Bruce Wayne. He can't say anything because it's like, well, I'm not Bruce Wayne, but here's Clayface maybe running around as Bruce Wayne doing stuff. So it's like,
But I think like you have Superman, Bizarro, you have Batman, and Man-Bat.
yeah.
Why not?
Would it be Man-Bat or would it be Hush? Because isn't Hush more of an opposite of him?
I mean, I'm talking about like one-to-one
Oh, okay.
kind of thing, not necessarily how bad the character is.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Because
Yeah,
when you're
I need
looking
more
at
people.
Bizarro and Superman, it's not really. He's not his main villain.
Bizarro think he is.
have we seen too much of Lex Luthor? Yes.
Yes. Please stop.
Please stop.
It's like, I mean, we've led up so many times to Deathstroke. It's like, bring me Deathstroke and Batman. I'd be okay with that even. We haven't seen a good Deathstroke yet.
Yeah.
I mean, because what's his name? Magellano? The one who was in Justice League.
But I think all of the Lex Luthors have been great. Every single one of them. There
Even
hasn't been a bad one.
The
Which
Batman,
one-
what's
which
his
one-
face?
Which one did you not like?
The Batman vs. Superman guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't like that kid either.
I'm trying to remember his name. Gosh,
The
Oh, Jesse Eisen.
Yeah,
Jesse
Jesse
Eisenberg. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I
was not a
loved him
fan.
in Zombieland.
I
But-
think.
Oh, I
if-
love Jesse
I
Eisenberg,
think
but not as
Eisenberg
Lex.
would have been
Yeah.
able to do it had they expanded on that. But we just
I'll give him
had.
that.
They just had him for that one.
And then like a
Not
little bit
after.
in Justice League, right? Like just the
Yeah.
end or something. You're right. Maybe I just needed more time with him to see
I
how
think
he
we
could
needed more time with him.
I don't know, and everybody wants to
Maybe.
go girl power, girl power, girl power. So what about Poison Ivy?
I would love to see another Poison Ivy again.
Uh huh. I would
Heck,
love to
I would
see
love
it.
to see a lot of his.
But
Again, I want
what
a lot
are
of
your
them.
thoughts on Zoe Kravitz? I didn't even know she was an actress.
That's
Yeah.
my new, or that's whose stepdaughter?
That's
That's Lenny
What's her name
Kravitz
is,
and
It's Momoa's stepdaughter, right? 'Cause then
yeah,
she's
yeah,
married-
yeah, Lisa Bonet.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Okay.
I mean, she's a little bit old to be somebody's stepdaughter. She's probably the same age as Momoa or something.
Is she? Oh, I don't know how old she is. I thought she was in her like 20s.
Yeah, maybe. She's
Momoa
gorgeous.
was like
She
40.
was beautiful. Yeah. I thought she was
too-
beautiful, really well trained. She's super tiny. You can see through her. She's awesome. I love her. I love that she's fresh and new in her role too. So she's still just wearing, like, you get that Daredevil vibe, right? She's wearing that homemade costume still that she hasn't quite
Right.
fleshed out, right?
This was from a wild night before, and
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
said keep it.
So I very much liked that about her. And I thought she played it well.
I did.
She plays it like somebody who grew up the way she explains the way she grew up. Like she played it, I thought played it all very well. I thought every ounce of it was believable. I didn't have any problems with her at all. And her chemistry with the other staff, acting staff, was really good. She, in everything she was in, she was good. So, yeah.
I did like, it's not a big, it's not a spoiler, it's just cosmetic. How the bat bike looked like a little bat at one point. I was like, did they just do this?
But that was just like one scene.
Yeah.
One scene you see it look like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. It looks like the old
like the Adam West one, right?
The Adam West one, but just all black.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, they did that. I was staring. I was trying not to laugh. I was like, I like that nod.
You're like,
okay
I like
with
it.
that.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I'll take that little nod. Because it's too campy. And he wasn't supposed to be campy. And I felt like
What did you think of the Batmobile?
Is it a Camaro, right? Or I don't know cars enough.
I don't know anything about cars. It was like the Frankenstein monster of cars.
Yeah.
It was a lot of things that he had put together and like bastardized a bunch of cars. But
it's in the trailer. You see it.
So you see it, and it's definitely his prototype. Like you get to see throughout the movie that he's been working on it because he's been relying on the bike.
Thing on making stuff that seems like they're actual vehicles.
Yeah.
That you would get, like they're doing that with Batwoman.
In the show.
In the show.
Yes. Okay.
More
I was
just
like, Batwoman. But in the show, yes.
Yeah, more just a kind of like a beefy sports car.
Yeah.
This is like an old muscle car.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Like a super.
It's a Cadillac.
Charged up.
Interesting. It was cool because again, this is young Batman, year 2 Batman, who hasn't really built his Batplane, his Batcopter, and his car now. So it's like, this is a cool little iteration. Now I would like to see if they do another film, maybe like a more souped up version of it, and it's like this one, like you said, kind of is like gonna sit in the Batcave. Like this was my first car, and I'm gonna make it my classic, and then move on to the next models. Almost kind of like Iron Man with his suits, but Bat's gonna have like all the cars. Like that would be cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that
he hasn't met Lucius Fox yet.
One of the things I missed is one of the lines, I guess, that I was wanting to hear is, they ask him like, "Who are you?" or whatever, and he's like, "I'm vengeance." I wanted him to say, "I'm your worst nightmare."
That would be funny. I laughed. Robert made a comment in ours. This is the first Batman that didn't indirectly kill somebody, he says, even though I deny that. But I'm like, okay. Because he kills a lot of people indirectly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. But he says he didn't kill anybody indirectly in this one, but
Are you sure he doesn't kill anybody indirectly?
I
felt like in that final scene there was some people that might be dead.
Well, my scene was the bridge.
They were all tethered, though.
Yeah, those people were okay up top, I guess, until like something crashed and broke the wall and it fell more. He might be dead then.
Yeah.
My argument was the bridge scene with him and Penguin, the big chase.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he definitely killed some people there. There were several that died.
He was like, no, the Penguin did that. I was like, but he's chasing the Penguin. If he would have stopped chasing him, Penguin would have done that.
Yeah.
But his psychosis says he has to chase the Penguin.
Yeah,
I'm like, but he killed him indirectly.
Yeah.
That was our argument on ours. Go check that one out. It's a funny argument.
I did like the way that they used the shadows a lot in this too. That was very consistent and it was very good. They talk about it, they show it. You have more of that where there's several places where there's a shadow and you're not quite sure where he's going to come from, and then there he is all of a sudden. So I very much liked that too, and they do this kind of eerie, like you just hear the sound of his footfalls, and you're like, oh shoot, he's coming for you.
I think one of the things I loved was the camera work in this film. I think it was done really, really well to keep it PG-13. Like Robert said, you get the feel of the blood and gore without ever seeing it because it is still PG-13.
Right.
So I agreed with him. I was like, the camera work was beautiful.
It was beautifully done. It's very much something that you could take like a middle school kid to, without any problems.
Would a middle school kid like this movie?
I don't know, middle school kid over there, would you like him?
I think they do. They like some of that darker stuff. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of them
But
are
for the
watching like
entire
Squid
long
Game and
3
Euphoria.
hour movie.
See, that's why I wouldn't take her. I don't think she'll sit through it. I don't.
Oh yeah, probably not.
You just told me I'm my generation. Imagine that one.
Well, you know what? Some of my GT kids would, because they're interested. I think theater kids obviously would, because they're interested in that kind of genre of art. But yeah, a lot of like.
But it's not in general.
Not in general,
I don't think
no.
so.
Probably not.
Yeah, like I won't take her. We'll probably wait till it hits HBO, because I think they said it hit HBO in like a month and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the kids would watch it in like several installments at home. They wouldn't be able to sit through the whole thing.
I can't even get her to watch My Hero Academia.
How dare you, ma'am?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Overall, I thought this was really, really good. I was very pleasantly surprised. I was thinking that Robert Pattinson wasn't going to be able to pull it off, and he's definitely a Batman.
He is.
He's definitely a really, really good Batman. But you know, I've got to say that I really like Christian Bale as Batman.
What did you think
so
of his cowl? Because this is a cowl that we've never seen before. This one was like molded out of leather.
I thought that the proportions on this one was better.
It's not rubber.
Yeah.
Which is different. It's not like fabric or anything. It's leather.
Yeah,
it's straight up leather on that
Yeah.
part.
You can even see like the stitches on the nose. And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought the proportions were right. I really liked it. I liked the way it looked. Again, it's pre-Fox, so you know, it doesn't have any of the gadgets in it or anything.
Right.
Again, it's that kind of I'm a new superhero kind of feel to it, right? It's like Spider-Man making his costume, Daredevil making his costume. It's this young generation who are coming into their own and trying to be heroes and like kind of feeling their way and making their personas and stuff. So I liked it. And I thought, I just felt like the proportions were really good.
The movie gave me a feel like in this world there are no superheroes.
Yeah, I can see that. At least for Gotham.
Like there's not a Superman or anything like that in there.
I don't know. I always felt like they were separate but equal. Like Gotham is an island unto itself. You know, Metropolis is an island unto itself. Even though I guess Metropolis is more like LA, and Gotham is like New York.
But they
Chicago,
didn't play
I think,
like Catwoman like she had like really 9 lives.
They did. But they did kind of. I'm gonna kind of comment on it. You have Bloodhaven in this one, and that's where Nightwing is. So I mean, I don't know where they're gonna put if they're gonna bring out Nightwing, but you got at least the call to Bloodhaven's here. So I don't know. Maybe there are superheroes, but to me, Gotham has always been dark and gritty. Even when like Superman does show up in Gotham, it's like okay.
They're like, okay, well, go away. This is our town, and we're gonna let it be seedy. And yeah. I don't know that I got that same feeling. I've always felt like the superheroes were all out there in the world, but there's only one of them, or 5 of them, or whatever, and there's billions of us. So they kind of have their little pockets that they have to stay in, And it's not like Batman can fly or anything until he gets a plane.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It didn't give me the feel like there's superpowers in this universe.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't think it didn't allude to that.
Well,
I don't think that we saw enough of it to know if that's even something that were on people's minds.
I also feel it's kind of like with your superheroes, it's kind of like a sports team. You would root for your own hero in your city. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm a Superman fan in Gotham. You're a Batman fan. Yes, there's those, people in Dallas, all that, whatever.
Because, like, when you look at, like, the show Gotham, there's definitely superpowers there.
Okay.
So you have Poison Ivy. You have Catgirl. Before she's Catwoman.
So you're talking about kind of what in the Flash world they call, like, metahumans. That's what you're talking about, is kind of like mutants or something like that. I just don't think that Gotham realizes they're there. Because Gotham is so divided in...
Because like I said before, becomes more of a detective movie.
Yeah, but again, Gotham is one of those cities that's so divided. So you have the one percenters, you have the upper echelon. They don't really know what's happening in the middle. You have the middle. They don't really know what's happening in the low, like,
But
ghetto
you
ends.
get a hint of, like, in other movies, you get a hint that there's, like, other heroes there.
Yeah.
This one you don't.
To me, though, it would have taken away even a little bit from Batman, and this was just a Batman film.
Yeah, I just think that they weren't trying to show us any of that deliberately because they wanted us just to focus on him.
Which was bringing me to the thing is, I don't see him teaming up with Justice League.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see how they write it.
Yeah. Let's see what film 2 does.
Because I don't have a problem with him teaming up with Justice League.
I don't see him teaming up with anyone. This Batman, I don't.
Why
I see
not?
this
Because he
Batman
works
as a
with the
loner.
GCPD. And well. Especially with Gordon. Like, it takes building trust with this Batman. But once you build trust, and you even find out in the movie, and he specifically says he has a moment where he tells another character, and I'm not going to tell too much, why he has no trust. Why he chooses not to have trust. He makes that choice. So it's not that he's not capable, it's that it's going to take convincing. That's what I think. And maybe maturing, too. Which, remember, we're still seeing him young. And they could, been by the next movie, we could have jumped ahead, 5 years, 10 years in his journey as Batman. Because that's the power of movie magic, We can skip over some of the montage.
You're gonna have to age him.
No, I mean,
no,
Batman
he's
can
30.
stay young.
Yeah, he's 35. He could still.
He's a playboy. He's a handsome playboy man.
Yeah,
so
he could
Yeah,
get
but he's
Botox
Batman,
and stuff.
that takes.
Put some more scars on his body. You don't have to age him, though.
Yeah, you don't have to really age him.
What did y'all think of the armor, though? Because, like, me and Robert are not big fans of bulletproof Batman.
Oh, well, you would think in this day and age it would be something that you would kind of have to take into consideration if you're Batman. Because you don't have
Batman.
superpowers, you just have money.
He's supposed to be Ninja Batman.
Ninja Batman can't, it's not like piss shirt bend bars. It's not like Ninja Batman take no bullets. That's not how that works. Like,
See, why isn't Batman just carry a bunch of money in his belt and just walk up to villains and be like, look, I'm either gonna kick your butt or I'm just gonna hand you this money. What are you gonna take? I'm just gonna take the money, man. He's gonna beat us up and just walk out the door. Like,
cake or death?
yeah, exactly. Like,
I'll take death. No, wait, I meant cake. Nope, it's too late.
Too
You already
late, you
chose
chose-
death. You chose death. You're
Right.
getting it.
broken nose and all that. I don't know. That would be my
Because he
superpower.
wants there to
But
be
having
no
the
connection
majority
between
of
him and
his-
Bruce. Yeah.
True.
Having the majority of his suits been bulletproof?
Some. It just depends what he's doing, I guess. Like, more against other super villains. Not. See, I don't call his character super villains really, because they have most of them have no real superpowers.
No real superpowers. Yeah.
So
they're
when
just,
he goes, yeah, they're just mental patients.
Yeah. They're just
But, like,
escaped mental patients.
Yeah, like Superman and the more powerful people, yeah, he has like armors and stuff. But like, even in Christian Bale, he can't take like rifle fire. He can take small arms fire. But if I shot him with a rifle, he was gonna probably go down.
I think that they're just taking into consideration a modernization of it. So,
True.
I mean, if you're going to be out there fighting, I mean, we already know that this country has problems with gun violence. And so if you're going to be out there fighting the mob and stuff, obviously they're going to have, weapons that you can't withstand in a normal, suit. You're going to have, and if you have the money, you're going to have some kind of high-end Kevlar if you're going to want to be out there
True.
night after night after night after night. So,
That's true.
so I don't have a problem with it. I think that that's just a modernized spin on it that we're going to have to get kind of used to based on what we've got going
That's
on.
what he spent his money on.
For real, though. Yes, for real.
That's where it went mostly.
So yeah, and I liked it because I didn't feel like they overused it either, Aaron. Like,
True.
did you think that, there was enough of him being in the shadows, there was enough of him being physical with people, and he was trying to, again, no guns, I'm trying not to kill people. Like, if I have to and they're dead, okay, so what? But like,
Inadvertently killed him.
if a bunch of them die on a
They're
highway,
doing
it's
the
not a
same
problem.
thing like they did with like Superman and this Batman. This Batman, they humanized him.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
showed him with flaws.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
showed
and
him with.
thank the baby Jesus, they didn't show us his background story again.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
will
Martha,
say that
thanks
that
for
was
dying.
one of my most favorite parts of the movie. When it first started, I said, I swear to God, if I have to see Martha and Wayne Kent, I mean,
Martha.
if I have to see Martha Wayne on the ground with her pearls scattered everywhere, I swear to God,
Not
I'm gonna
wrong.
lose it.
Not wrong.
And they didn't give us that, so thank the Lord
Yeah.
they didn't give us that. We didn't
Finally,
have
because
to.
all of us is like, we get it.
We get it. We get
We
it.
know
His
what
parents are
happened.
dead. We
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've had enough memes. We know by now.
So this was the Batman. It was pretty spoiler free.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great movie. Definitely a movie that you should watch at the theater.
I thought it was a theater-worthy movie. Yeah, definitely much better than Uncharted.
I'll have to take back what I said about.
I take it
Robert
back.
Being Batman.
Take it back, Robert. You did a good Batman. Bruce, not so great. And talk to your director next time.
Yeah.
Read a comic.
But I definitely enjoyed it. You should definitely see it if you can. But thanks for checking us out. If you haven't subscribed to us, click on that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen, and thanks a lot, Aaron. Geek Out Essay.